The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Former NFL MVP and current CBS NFL analyst Matt Ryan had a lot to say about the Jets offense and specifically Garrett Wilson. We'll talk about that and much more with Robby Sabo in his weekly spot. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Well, we got to figure it out. Today took a major step back.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Brees Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show. Before we get started, a reminder, if you're headed to London to RSVP to our London party full of great Asmaniacs making the trip across the pond, and all the Jet fans who live in the UK will be at the Hippodrome Casino free event. There'll be drinks, there'll be food, there'll be Jet fan camaraderie. Make sure you guys RSVP with the link that I have posted in the description for this video. And of course, spread the word to your Jet fans that you know who are making the trip, who might not be daily viewers of this show. Please subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Now that we made it to October, I do want to say this. Thank you for making September the most viewed month in the history of the Jake Asman Show here on YouTube. This is my 4th season going live every day, talking about the Jets. And I just want to say thank you to the audience, the Asmaniacs, for not only helping us hit over 38,000 subscribers this month, but for helping make this past month the most viewed month in the history of the show. And joining us right now in his weekly spot is the founder of JetsXFactor.com, the co-host of the Underdog podcast with Jet legend Wayne Corbett. We say good morning to Robby Sabo. Hello, Robby.
Oh, 4 years now, huh? You guys, Jake Asman and JetX are in harmony. I think it's 4 years for us too.
Yeah, 4 seasons for me. I think you guys have been around a little longer, but I started going
March, right before COVID. So like March 2020.
Yeah,
Right
I would
at
say,
COVID.
I would say I started doing like a live show in January of 21, like right after they hired
Right.
Saleh. Like I was posting clips from my, at the time, SB Nation radio show. And I always noticed the Jet ones would get a lot of views. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a second. What if I just did my own Jet show? And I went from a part-time job on the side as I was a full-time ESPN Houston radio host to it's my full-time job. And now I'm doing part-time radio on ESPN New York at Sirius XM. So it's amazing how that works, but
That's the thing, man. And it's better when not when you could just do it for yourself, but when you can get others involved. And that's always the goal. But I heard, interestingly, from a couple viewers of yours that you took the loss in stride. You were at a wedding, you were having fun. You were very calm and rational, I thought. Is this true or no? Do I have it wrong?
Well, I think I was rational. I was just pissed, right?
I got to needle you as much as possible. Come on.
I did not enjoy this wedding, though. It was horrific. And it's to no fault of anyone other than Robert Saleh and the New York Jets. I blame them. Because I'm a great time at weddings. I'm a great wedding guest.
Are you? I'm okay. I'm 50-50. Like I'll engage half the time, but it gets tiring. The chit chat gets tiring, and I love people. Don't get me wrong, but I think the level of inebriation really matters in terms of my wedding guest habits.
The big thing for me was it was a Sunday night. I was already an hour and a half late to this wedding because I did the post-game show after that debacle on Sunday. And by the time I got there, I had to drive. I couldn't really drink. It was tough. Sunday weddings, this is not just because the Jets lost. I was saying this before. Sunday weddings during football season should be outlawed. I think it should actually be illegal to do, but that's just my opinion.
It's the equivalent of Goodell, forcing the Jets to play in Tokyo, for instance. It's outrageous. Let's leave it at that.
Horrific. And instead of Tokyo, the Jets will be playing in London this week, which we'll certainly get into. But I want to start, Robbie, with the comments that were made by Matt Ryan. I found this interesting, and I hope Aaron Rodgers does exactly what Matt Ryan says he would do if he was Aaron Rodgers entering the Jet meeting room this week. This was from the CBS Sports postgame show where you have Bill Cowher, Nate Burleson, and Matt Ryan talking about the state of the Jets after that loss on Sunday.
When you're desperate, you find out who you are.
Yeah.
And I mean that literally.
Yeah.
You start to figure out what your identity is. Like, are we a pass team or are we a run team? Listen, we know we want to see Aaron Rodgers gripping and ripping, right? He's one of the best throwers ever. But I feel like the identity of this team is running the rock with those two young running backs, opening it up for the passing game. And by the way, passing game, I know everybody's thinking, what about this Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson combination? Why haven't we seen an explosion statistically? They're not on the same page. I'm just going to call it what it is.
You guys talking about it in here all day long.
When we seen Garrett Wilson make plays with the quarterback group that had a rotation of individuals as a young wide receiver, he had to do a lot. He had to ad-lib at the top of routes. He had to get open in double coverage. He had to do more than he was used to. Now Aaron Rodgers is saying, I don't need you to do all that. I just need you to run a route, get open, and I'm going to put that ball on your hip, at your chest, back shoulder. You just be where I need you to be, and we'll start making plays.
You are the veteran guy. You're Matt Ryan. You've been to Pro Bowls. You've been player of the year, just like Aaron Rodgers. What is your message to the New York Jets receiving crew as they go in there on Monday tomorrow?
Listen, you need to get on my page. Not your page. You need to get on my page. All right? We saw the clip of Aaron Rodgers. You were sitting right next to me, the body language. There was a chance late in that game where he's expecting Garrett Wilson to bend up the seam, too high look, to kind of bend that thing in towards the hash. He's expecting him to be there. His frustration after, the hands go to the helmet. You can see clear as day where the camera was, right on his eyes. They're not on the same page, right? I expect you to be at a certain spot at a certain time. Forget all the rest.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's saying tomorrow morning in film.
I like that a lot from Matt Ryan, who obviously has been in those circumstances, been in those meetings before. What did you make of that, Robbie? Because it is clear now this is becoming a problem with Rodgers and the receivers, specifically the guy we all thought was going to have a Devontae Adams-like season, Garrett Wilson not being on the same page with Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's correct. And, how shocking is it that Garrett and Rodgers are struggling? You were there in the summer. It was
insane.
No difference. And let me take that back. There is difference because, when everything's on the line and there's an actual opponent out there and you're in the middle of it, it's a different feel, but the level of drop off in terms of being on the same page and Garrett, the reason he plays slot, the reason we all thought, and I thought he's perfect with Rodgers, and I still think he is that he has a great brain for running routes. He reads the coverage. So far this year, we haven't really seen that. And that really stuns me. But with Rodgers, here's the thing. It's a high ceiling endeavor. It's not something that will reach half capacity if it works right. If it works right, it's a full ceiling that has a higher ceiling than anything in the league. So it's expected in that regard. If you look at it that way, it's expected that it's going to be slow going in the beginning. But once they get it going, that ceiling will surely be there.
It's just shocking, honestly, because I was there this summer. And every time I was there, I watched Garrett Wilson dominate. And it's just, to me, a sign of a guy who maybe is pressing right now, like he's trying to do too much. I think a great example of Garrett pressing is on that 3rd and 18 at the beginning of the game. He's fumbling the ball because he's trying to do too much rather than just going vertical and getting down. Like, you're not picking up that first down, cutting back. And I just think Garrett's in his head. I think to a lesser extent, Brees was in his head this past game on Sunday, watching back some of the film, and we'll have Fialco on today at 4 p.m. for the full film review. On one of those touchdown plays at the goal line, or should have been touchdown plays, Brees just hit the wrong hole. If he bounced it to the outside, he probably scores, and we're not screaming about Braylon Allen because they would have scored a touchdown and probably won the game. I just think this team with their stars, they're pressing right now. Like, it's amazing to me, Robbie, that Mike Williams, who's had by far and away the least amount of time playing with Rodgers, has had the most success out of all the guys who are playing with Rodgers for the first time. Like Lazard has been effective because he knows Aaron, but Mike Williams, who didn't practice most of the summer, he's going out there and he's already contributing more than Garrett Wilson has. And that's crazy to me.
Two things. One, with the fumble, yeah, he's trying to do too much. Start with fundamentals. The great thing, I mean, the NFL promotes these gloves. The gloves are so alien. Like, they would have been outlawed 20 years ago. I can't believe how sticky they are. And I get why the NFL wants it. More offense, more spectacular plays. And a sneaky conspiracy theory for me is they like it because it promotes hand tackling on defense too. But what that does is it cuts out fundamentals. And when it rains, that's the negative part, because it gets tricky with those gloves. You don't know if you want to use them or not. Garrett didn't use the glove. He fumbled. He didn't have it high and tight. He was careless with it. And he's always been careless with the ball. He's got to clean that up. He's got to care. He's got to care about that. You can't be too cool for school. So that's one. Number two, Mike Williams. This goes to show you what a great game plan does to a team. What the Jets did against New England, what did they do? They blitzed the hell out of them right away. 60% of the time they blitzed. They couldn't recover. They were shocked. They were stunned. They were like, this Jets team who never blitzes, who plays it vanilla, is going to attack us like this? What do we do now? They didn't know what to do. Great game plan. Fast forward, this past Sunday, Jets are very vanilla, but on the opposite end, Vance Joseph did what defensive coordinators never can do to Rodgers, because Rodgers cuts up the blitz usually. Shocked him. It shell-shocked him. And let's be honest, Rodgers didn't have a great game. He was flailing. He was throwing off his back foot. He wasn't standing strong. So, a lot of that, yeah, they're not on the same page, but a lot of that was Rodgers not doing, not executing his usual oomph in the face of pressure. And I get it. He's coming back. There's certain things there. But I mean, it is when you're seeing 6 and 7 come at you regularly, you should tear them up at some point down the field. One-on-one coverage with Rodgers, it's automatic. But Vance Joseph was sitting, driving with those DBs in conjunction with the blitz, and it was a game plan masterpiece.
I mean, this to me though is a real problem for this coaching staff. When they're this bad with this many days to prepare, that's coaching. When you lose a game like they lost on Sunday, Robbie, where it's very reminiscent to pick your game from last year with Zach Wilson or Tim Boyle at the quarterback spot, that's coaching. And I've been a solid guy as far as giving him a chance with Aaron Rodgers. But when it still looks the same with Aaron Rodgers, that's a problem. I know Aaron wasn't vintage Rodgers on Sunday, right? He wasn't perfect. There were some throws I'm sure he'd want back. But I put this together going through the All-22.
Yep.
And Michael Nadia, your co-founder at JetX, tweeted out some of these clips. Everything was so difficult. Look at some of the throws
nothing
Rodgers
primary
had to make just to try and get something going here. Like this was way too difficult against, Denver's got a good defense, but I'm sorry, no one was just schemed open for an easy completion. Like every time Rodgers did anything, it was because he had to do something like this. He had to just make magic happen. And now I'm a little concerned about his leg or hamstring this week, if it zaps some of his mobility against this Flores defense, because if he can't move around and they can't get better picking up the blitz, it's going to be a problem on Sunday in London.
Yeah, listen, no one played well. The O-line didn't play well either, but I think the bigger part is, they sent more numbers. They sent one more extra guy nearly every time. And in that scenario, if I were to ask you, what would you want to see from the opposing defense against Rodgers? I would say exactly what Vance Joseph did. Do that. Keep blitzing him because he's going to tear you up. And it didn't work. So the game planning, it was as if Vance Joseph was in the Jets huddle. That's how bad it was. Insane. There was a couple of, when you were talking, I was like, man, there's so many things I want to say, and now I forgot them all. But yeah, it was just brutal. They have to look in the mirror. I think this might be the best thing for them, because week 1, they got out schemed, but more importantly, out physicaled. Week 4, they were out schemed, and it was all intellectual.
And I mean, is it correctable? Can they
Yes.
break it? Can they get this fixed? Because look, this is why you have Aaron Rodgers, right? When your season kind of feels like it's at a crossroads with the schedule coming up, you got embarrassed at home. Every team has that bad loss. I don't know if it should have been as bad as it was on Sunday, but this team to me is just too talented for games like that. Like this can't happen again. This coaching staff wants to be here beyond this year. You can't lose 10-9 to a rookie quarterback in his 4th game where he had negative yards passing at halftime. Like this was just completely unacceptable. And look, it's on coaching. It's also on the players too. I don't want them to go blameless here. Your best players got to be your best players. Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson have to wake up. This is concerning now that they haven't resembled themselves through the first 4 weeks. And obviously it culminated with Breece having maybe the worst game of his entire career at any level on Sunday.
Yeah, Breece, he's dancing. He's not rushing the ball with authority. You have to mix it up. You have to pick your spots to dance. You have to hit the hole and use your vision and be no nonsense at times. Tennessee, first play of the game, he did exactly that and ran a couple guys over. He's gotten away from that. Why? I don't know. I mean, throw coaching in the mix, throw having to self-reflect in the mix. It's Saleh. I mean, I'm not a huge Saleh guy in terms of strategy, but I'm always going to be fair. He has really solid traits that you like as a head coach. He gets guys to play hard. He communicates, and he's one with this new generation. I think he has a great eye for personnel too. You can't overlook that. It's not just the GM, the coach working with the GM for personnel. I think it's huge. He's like Mangini in that regard. Where he falls short in my mind is the game planning strategy. Not so much in game. In game, I think they've been okay in terms of adjusting, but game planning strategy coming into the game, relying on who they are, and that bluster, that quiet bluster of if we do what we do, no one can beat us. Nonsense. That's an 80s mantra. Not today. It needs to be chameleon-like, and accountability. Those are the two things. The penalties, if you're going back and forth on Saleh in terms of what he's done, reviewing his job so far, just look at the penalties. It's case closed from there. That's an absurdity.
Led the NFL in penalties last year, third most since 2022 in penalties. Like this is coaching, man. And I was willing to give Saleh this year.
Me too.
One, we didn't have a choice. And two, like objectively speaking, they won 7 games last year with the 32nd ranked offense by far. And it's like,
yes,
you have Aaron Rodgers now. You can't lose 10-9 to the Broncos. Like, I'm sorry, you just can't. This team should be 3-1 right now. And I get it. I'm not sitting here saying, the season is over, but like all your fears about this team, like they'll win games this year because they're just more talented and they got Rodgers. And we saw that obviously play out in that New England game, for example. But like when they face good teams or God willing, they're in the playoffs, like these are the type of performances that make you very concerned about whether or not, even if they do get into the playoffs, they're ever capable of actually reaching any of their goals beyond that because they don't have the coaching.
It's a tricky thing. Okay, first of all, two things. Saleh, coaching is dynamic. When people look at Saleh and say it can never work, nonsense. It can work. The great coaches, it's a dynamic position, but they must coach themselves. They must be flexible. So it's always evolving. And the best bet, dark horse on Saleh improving and finding his way is Aaron Rodgers, because Rodgers could cement and implement the strategy end of things. Accountability, maybe he could help, but I think he's got to find that on his own. The strategy, Rodgers could help. It's a tricky thing. I get it. The defense has been great. That's Saleh. Just give him a quarterback. On its, they gave up 10 points. Great job by the defense. They should be able to win that. Yes, on its face, that's all true. But the game flow. Think about the game flow. When the game started, the Jets offense were getting shut down. And it was a shocker. It was an eye-opener. On the other side, Bo Nix struggling, missing guys. He had some wide open guys in the first quarter, missed them. So Sean Payton's sitting there, a Super Bowl winner. He's like, okay, Vance Joseph, my DC's shutting him down. Surprisingly, with the blitz, Rodgers doesn't look right. And Bo Nix is going to throw interceptions if I keep opening it up. So what does he do? He tries to shorten the game. He tries to muck it up. It's raining too, mind you. So he tries to muck it up. And right there it becomes a shortened, sloppy, muck it up game, much like Jets fans have seen Saleh do with Zach Wilson at quarterback. So he's giving up 10 points in that environment. Great job. I'd say it's solid, but I don't know if it's a great job when they can't throw the ball a lick. And if they can't throw the ball a lick, how the hell are you getting a run on the ball shoved down your throat for the game-winning field goal on that drive? I just don't get it. I honestly don't.
I am reluctant to criticize the defense, but you're right. You know what I mean? It's like they gave up 10 points. Rodgers even said it, like, we got to win the game. Our defense allowed 10. Correct. But it's like,
it's nuance. It's not as though I'm trying to pound the defense here. It's that you have to, I think, by mentioning it and pointing it out, it drives home the team point of view, the team effort point of view.
Correct. And I think the other thing that you can nitpick, though, Sauce Gardner's not on Cortland Sutton in the end zone there.
Yeah,
and also,
that was DJ.
DJ Reed had a great game. there can't be a coverage bust there. Like, I'm sorry, for a team with this much talent, there's too many times where it feels like they have a miscommunication on defense, and their talent usually can mask it, or they keep teams out of the end zone. Instead, maybe it's only a field goal instead of 6, but it was 6 in that spot, and it was the difference in the game. Like it can't happen. And honestly, even if Zerline hit that kick, Robbie, I was already thinking I was still going to rip this team for how they play. Like, that's unacceptable. This was the Giant game last year. The only difference is, 1, you have Aaron Rodgers, and 2, Zerline hit the kick this time. Like, this was completely unacceptable. And now, it could go one of two ways. It could be a game we refer back to that was the game that started this tailspin, and they're 2-5, and we're debating if they're going to make an in-season coaching change for the first time ever under Woody Johnson, or it's the wake-up call that good teams need. The Ravens blowing a double-digit home lead to the Raiders, then they won 2 straight. Now look like maybe the best team in the AFC. Like, every team has that bad loss. We went through some of this yesterday with the playoff teams from a year ago, but how do they respond? And that's the question now. You brought in Aaron Rodgers to be able to respond to bad losses like that and bounce back. And I know the Vikings are a good team, but they're not going 17-0. I know Sam Darnold's played well, but he's still susceptible to turnovers. Like, this is a big week for a Jets team that doesn't have to play Minnesota in their building where they're really good. You're going to London. It is a neutral field. This coaching staff played a London game 2 years ago. There is far more talent on this team. They have to get it done. There's no excuse. Find a way to win. And please find a way to win for me and all the great Jet fans flying 7 hours to go and see this game in person. Oh, my God, is it going to be a nightmare on the way home if they lose?
Yeah, I was 50-50 on going. I thought I was going to cover the game, but last moment cannot go. I hear you. And before we put the Broncos game to bed, I'm watching that play, the Sutton touchdown. It's a tricky one. I mean, they're on the 8-9 yard line. It's a 3-by-1 bunch. They're in man. Every team plays the same coverage when you're inside the 5. It's a man match of some sort. You got to follow, but you're exchanging. If there's a rub, there's a pick, whatever, you're exchanging. This is just attention to detail. I don't know what they're doing here. I can't describe it. It looks like man. It can't be 6. It just has to be a man match. And worse yet, Tony Adams is deep. Sutton just crosses his face, and Adams completely ignores him. So I don't know. It's attention to detail, getting run on right down your throat. Sherwood and Quincy on that inside pitch. They were in Hoboken. They shifted so far down. I don't know what they were doing. Attention to detail. They have to. There has to be a mindset and environment that every little detail matters.
It's unacceptable, man. It's very frustrating, and it can't happen again. Like, I'm sorry. You can't lose to Bo Nix again. Now you got to win a game that you're not supposed to win. And, technically they're an underdog this week, but you got to win this game. Like, the Vikings aren't going 17-0. Darnold's played well, but confuse them. Force them to give you a couple turnovers. They very nearly blew a 28-0 lead. Jordan Love had monster numbers passing against this defense on Sunday. So, hey, you brought in Aaron Rodgers for a reason. I'm expecting a big-time bounce back. That's got to be the mentality of this team. Is the team many of us thought they were going into the year.
And if there was ever a witness as to which sport coaching matters most in, obviously it's football. It's that Sam Darnold is doing what he's doing this year. I mean, it not only has it always mattered the most coaching in football, but now it's even more so because of the salary cap and how even everything is. Listen, I do like their chances. I think the riding the roller coaster, being so high up, being so low down, it's natural week after week. But if they look themselves in the mirror and get back to business, they'll be fine. They will be fine. And I think in a lot of ways, going to London this week after that debacle is the best thing for them. Get away, get out of the country, come together as a team and get it done.
Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Quick reminder that the Jake Asman Show is now available in audio form on either Apple Podcast or Spotify. So check it out, subscribe there, and get the show you're watching live right now in audio form if you want to take us on the go. Before we get to some of your super chats and we get to your calls on the Gusbuster hotline, let's pause because today's Jake Asman Show is presented by my friends at Mando.
Here we go. Introducing Lumi for men, and we named him Mando. The whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to block odor all day and controls odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, between your butt cheeks. So here's the odor controlling math. 12 hours after a shower with soap, the average armpit and nether region had an odor score of 8 and 5 out of 10. 12 hours after a shower with soap and applying Mando, those odor scores were 0. How do you like them apples?
Here's the deal, people. All right. Here's the deal. If you want to not stink, use Mando deodorant. All right. It's that simple. In fact, I want to shout out Mando for coming through right before I head to London with a starter pack of my own that you could get $5 off with code Asman at shopmando.com. In the starter pack here, they sent me a little whole body deodorant, invisible bourbon leather spray. They also obviously sent me the traditional stick deodorant. They sent me some Mando soap right here, which smells delicious. And I got plenty of body wash to use in the shower. Also, they sent me their Pro Sport Invisible Cream deodorant. So all these items are available. Go to shopmando.com. Use promo code Asman. Check it out. 72-hour relief from stinking when you use Mando deodorant. Once again, as you heard in the spot there, Mando created by a doctor who saw firsthand how BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Mando is American made. Check them out. They're a big supporter of the show. Once again, shopmando.com. Code Asman to save $5 on Mando's best-selling starter pack. Thanks to Mando again for being a part of our show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring Robby Sabo back on the screen right now. And Robby, before we get to some super chats, I need about 10 memberships, and I'm making a emoji swap. We're putting the Robby Sabo emoji into effect. What do you say?
It's still frightening, and I see King Lowski with the comment, Sabo got to fix his hair in all capital letters. King, this is, it's bad. It's a bad coincidence. I'm saying this while this emoji's on the screen, but this is the new style. This is gray, puffed out, thinning hair. Dude, how dare you criticize this stuff, this glorious stuff on the top of my head? Get out of here, King Lowski.
Ladies and gentlemen, 10 memberships, and Robby Sabo will be emojiized, edgemoized for the Jake Asman Show listeners. All right, some super chats here. Let's get into it. Jetpack checks in. If you think Salah is bad at the podium, go watch Mike McDaniel after that ass whooping last night. Holy, bro mumbled and bumbled for 10 minutes. See you in London, Jake. Let's get this W. Jetpack, looking forward to meeting you, man. That's awesome that you're going. Look, as far as the Dolphins go, ain't so easy without a quarterback, huh? The Dolphins are literally having the same season we as Jet fans went through last year. I guess the difference is they're 1-3. At least the Jets were able to get the 4-3 before it all fell apart. They gave us some false hope the first couple of weeks post Rodgers.
Yeah, it's not easy without talent at the court. Did Huntley make the Pro Bowl a couple years ago? Do I remember that?
Remember he was the alternate one, like the entire league dropped out.
Yeah, how was that? I don't. How
it was a joke.
How are you doing that? Number one, and McDaniel, shame on me. I actually thought about. I didn't have a quarterback in fantasy. I was thinking about Huntley, believing in McDaniel, but I stuck with who did I pick up? I think I picked up Darnold. It was either Darnold or Fields, and it worked out. Yeah, man, it's not easy. It is not easy without a quarterback. There's nowhere to go. But also Rodgers, there's something else here at play. I want to see a Jets player or more Jets players, even a coach, it could be, stand up to this guy. Now, it doesn't have to be on screen. And if it's not on screen, we don't know about it. But standing up to see if Rodgers leaders, they have respect for guys who stand up to them in the right way, telling them like, hey, dude, I'm with you. I care about it just as much as you do. And I think that's something that needs to happen for this ship to really take off.
I completely agree with you. And I just hope when Rodgers talked about holding guys accountable, that's what's happening this week. I know Salah, walked it back the next day with the cadence stuff. The cadence is a weapon. Guys need to be held accountable. If Breece Hall is false starting as a running back, he should be on the bench. You have to send a message. You can't have a running back false starting twice in an NFL game. That's completely unacceptable.
Yeah, no, 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 or 9 or whatever. McDonald lined up in the neutral zone.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. You're right. I don't know if the second one was on 3rd down, but nonetheless, can't happen once on 3rd down.
And he actually had a good game. That's what's crazy. Yeah. Like he led them in pressures. I think he had 6 pressures. And he's being chipped now Quinn Williams is being doubled because they don't. I mean, Solomon Thomas is not going to win a one-on-one. Kinlaw's not winning one-on-ones. I mean, Michael Clemens is just a waste of space out there. He's not winning a one-on-one. Like they need Reddick is what they really need, or they need a John Franklin Myers type. Gee, he would have helped on Sunday. Great move, Joe Douglas.
Yeah, and listen, Quincy's been great. Don't get me wrong, but when you're watching the film and you're watching that drive, when the Broncos shoved it down their throats, took them to the woodshed. By the way, it's funny. I messaged you. We both used the same term. The Jets coaching staff got taken to the woodshed accidentally. And when I saw you say it on your live show, I felt so good and so stamped. But Quincy, great season, but there were some run fills that were just sloppy on that drive. And it's all misdirection stuff. Peyton, counter, inside pitch, where you're trying to get him to flow to the outside. All misdirection stuff where the fill isn't right. And it's not as though Quincy or anyone's trying to avoid contact, but the point of the fill is just not where it needs to be. And it's attention to detail, stuff like that. Again, they got to get it right.
Hit the like button if you're tuning in, even if you don't like how the Jets performed on Sunday. It helps this channel continue to grow. KJH with a super chat. Garrett's used to no structure because he played with scrubs. Gibson needs to go to the practice squad. Williams needs to be involved. He's used to playing with a pro quarterback. Maybe there is something to that with Garrett. I think he's pressing a little bit now. He's faced some really good corners, but that's no excuse. He's got to produce. I mean, Surtain followed him for a lot of the game, but it wasn't the entire game. There were opportunities there. And as far as Gibson goes, Robbie, I am exhausted with some of the decision-making when it comes to Xavier Gibson. He gives you nothing as a returner right now in the kicking or punt game. And then with 3rd and 10 on the final drive, him and Rodgers aren't on the same page, but even if they were, they're throwing up a 50-50 go ball or a 50-50 ball to Xavier Gibson, who's the same height as me. Like, give me a break, man. Mike Williams wasn't even on the field for that play. So the personnel usage needs to be better from Hackett, and that falls on Saleh too as the head coach. He doesn't get a pass anymore. So it's just frustrating, man. They can't find any role for Corley, who they couldn't wait to tell people in the offseason after they picked him. He was their 4th receiver on their draft board, but he has no role on a team that needs a playmaker right now. Give me a break.
You're right. Okay, you're right on Gibson. He hasn't brought much to the table. The return game is what he has to do. He's got to do a little bit better there. But there's two things at play. Yes, they got out schemed, and Hackett and Saleh need to take it upon themselves to go above and beyond Rodgers, because Rodgers, being the Hall of Fame guy, he's going to be cool, collected during the week, knowing he's going to do his thing on Sunday. And whatever they throw against me, I'm going to get it done. You can't roll with that as a coach. You have to go above and beyond that. And I'm not seeing that so far. That's one. Two, yeah, I don't like throwing it to Gibson in a one-on-one on the sideline. His height, that's not the type of player he is. What could that be? Why are you doing that? Is it because Rodgers was so disgusted with other receivers not doing the right thing, not seeing the right thing as him? Because a lot of their passing concepts are two-way goes, options. It's all dependent upon a look Rodgers may give you pre-snap, the way the leverage is in terms of coverage. So I think maybe because Gibson wasn't really in the game too much up until the 4th quarter, I don't think, unless I'm missing something. Was Rodgers just disgusted and he was going to a guy he trusted more based on the summer? I don't know. Was it because there is something to be said for Rodgers was asked during a presser in the summer, about Garrett Wilson, and he said, hey, is he your favorite? Blah, blah, blah. And Rodgers was like, the open guy's my favorite. That's my favorite, the open guy. And while, yes, you all love to hear that and want that to play out, you really don't want to go to Gibson in that situation. And I get it. But up to that point, it was such a mess. Who the hell knows? The point is, just don't make it a mess, and you won't have to rely on Gibson and 50-50 balls.
Keith Best has gifted a channel membership, the first to do it on this show. We are 9 away from the Sabo emoji. DLB, one Jets arm, receiving the membership from the great Keith Best. Let's keep going here with your super chats. Bang Mateo writes in, Saleh's had 4 years to figure it out on discipline. Completely fair. I mean, at what point is enough enough? Rodgers shouldn't need to be the one to hold everyone accountable.
Agreed. And I'm seeing a lot of Corley comments. It's It's what I just said. You have to have a high level of understanding in terms of what you need to do in running routes with Rodgers. And it's not an indictment on Corley per se. It's just that any rookie coming in, it would kind of be like this now. On the other end, Corley has special talents, so you could have a special package for him. 6, 7, 8 plays per game, and that's something we haven't seen. And I think they should do that more.
I'd use him on kickoffs because it's
you could do that too.
A
Sure.
long run play. If you want Gibson on punt returns because he's been sure-handed catching the ball. By the way, if it rains in London, can the Jets be prepared for a rain game? It's like they had no idea it was going to rain on Sunday, and I don't think any of us thought it was going to be that bad. But come on, man! To not look like you belonged on the field on offense at times in that game against Denver just because it rained. It's unacceptable.
And can it stop raining for Jets home games? I mean, where are we? Seattle? This is outrageous. I feel like the last 8 out of 10 home games have been rain games.
That's what made the New England game so insane. Not just that they won and killed them, but it was beautiful weather that night.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I mean, the only times it was beautiful weather, I feel like, were the openers this year, last year. Yeah, just stop raining, for God's sakes.
Well, it actually rained before the opener last year, but it cleared before kickoff. We had a rainbow over MetLife before I walked in, and then had one of the worst moments of my life.
Oh, man, you must have been, when you saw that rainbow, you're like, oh, this is the year. It must have hit home, right?
There were a couple moments that night where I'm like, this is the year. The rainbow, Rodgers coming out with the flag, and the first play on offense where Breece Hall off the torn ACL is going 25 yards untouched. I'm like, holy shit, we're winning the Super Bowl. And then we know what happened.
And the atmosphere was just absurd. And by the way, the rain this past Sunday, there weren't that many people in the stadium, which kind of shocked me.
They got rained out. That's why they didn't.
I know, but coming off a huge win, it's a Sunday 1:00. I just thought there would be a little more than what we saw.
Fair. I think a lot of people were hiding in the concourse. It's miserable, man. I mean, I was at the Giant game last year in the rain, and it sucks.
It does. It's not fun. And usually I'm a guy who doesn't like the press box. I want to be in the environment, in the atmosphere where it's loud. I remember back when I was college, or maybe a little after college, me and my brother went to it was after college because it was 2009, Rex's first home game against the Pats.
Mm-hmm.
And we got tickets from someone. We were in a suite inside. But for 90% of the game, me and him were standing on the stairs in the atmosphere because you just love to be in that atmosphere. But with the rain, I was happy to be in the press box. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Mr. Reality says there's no such thing as should or will win this game or that game. Jets are behind the 8 ball and start at the start of every game because of Saleh. Look, until proven otherwise, he's not a good NFL head coach. So I get that sentiment. That said, this team is not finishing, 2-15. They're 2-2. Right now, if the season were to end today, Mr. Reality, they'd would be the 5 seed in the playoffs. As bad as Sunday was, don't let it cost you now this upcoming Sunday. Make the corrections and find a way to win against the Vikings team that's good, but they're not going 17-0. And we just saw Denver blow out Tampa, and then Tampa blew out the Eagles. So it's a very week-to-week league. If you're the Jets, unleash Mike Williams, have answers for the blitzes that Flores is sending your way, and find a way to win this game. I expect the defense to play well, and the offense needs to show a pulse and get back to the offense we know they have the talent to be. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall got to wake up.
Yeah, one of the previous Jets seasons in history, they were 0-1 going into their home opener against the Baltimore Ravens and got spanked. Well, actually, there's another one too I'm thinking of. Got spanked 24-10. It wasn't that bad in terms of score, but they were completely outplayed. They fell to 0-2. That was 1998. They started 0-2, so they started 2-2. Did not look good in week 2. Then they started to turn it on, got to 2-2. The Rams, they went out to St. Louis, lost 30-10, got spanked again, fall to 2-3. All the questions about Parcells. And that era in 98, over 20 years ago, is not nearly as fluid as today. So imagine that team 2-3 coming back when all the fans thought they were done and toasted. It's not panic time yet. Not even close.
Yeah, I thought you were referring to 2010 Monday night. They lose to the Ravens and beat the Pats at home in week 2, and then they started 9-2.
It kind of mirrors each other, those two seasons a little bit.
Bang Mateo says, Robbie, I warned us all about Saleh 2 years ago. Nothing has changed. Now you all see that he does nothing on the sidelines and the team lacks discipline.
Oh, well, Bang, look in your mail. I got that medal I sent you. It's a shiny medal. I think you'll like it.
My favorite thing about the people who are like anti-Salah or just anti-Jets, it's like, chances are you're going to end up being right more times than not if you're fading against the Jets over the last 15 years. You know what I mean? Like,
you spot the people who hedge their bets against the Jets. You know who they are, and you're good. Quarterbacks too. Oh, he's going to be a bust quarterback. Guess what?
Like, you're probably going to be right.
Yes. Yeah. It's not.
And
that
like,
difficult.
it sucks to say, and like, I try to be positive until you can't, but it's like that's the stigma the team's dealing with. Like, they're 2-2, Bang. They're not 0-4. I'm by no means excusing Sunday's performance. I mean, if you've watched the show the last couple of days, I've been enraged. I'm still very upset. But, like this idea that all of a sudden, because they're 2-2, it means that there's no hope for this team. I'm not going there yet. They win Sunday. All of a sudden, the Jets are back and screw the Bills. Here we come. We're winning the AFC. It's like, I've seen this too many times with this franchise. It'd be very Jet-like, by the way, for them to actually win the next 2 games now and then lose to the Steelers on Sunday night against Justin Fields. That would be very Jet-like to happen.
Man, this is the NFL where Jerry Glanville once dubbed it "not for long" on the old NFL Rocks VHS, for anyone old enough to remember that masterpiece video by the NFL in the early 90s. But anything could happen, and listen, I've been critical of Salah with his strategy and accountability, but I'm going to be fair. He has traits that you like, and if he surrounds himself with the right coordinators, it works. And if he coaches himself and figures it out, Rodgers could actually do it and really help him. He can be a good coach in this league.
Phil writes in, looking forward to meeting Phil in London. He's in our Discord chat. I was mixing it up with him as an expert on all things London. Vikings are going to blitz as much as the Broncos. Where was the screen game, and will we see it in London? I mean, they better have some checks and some answers for the blitz packages that Flores is sending their way.
Mm-hmm.
Guys got to be on the same page. Garrett's got to get on the same page with Rodgers when he's expecting a certain look, and Garrett needs to be in the right spot. They should have some more screens. They should be more prepared for the blitz. The fact that Rodgers said after the game, we need to get Brees in some space. I think that's a good sign that they will have some of that in the offense this week. At least they better. Well,
what they didn't do, and what I think they're going to do more, is max protect a little more. They did not have any semblance of max. Remember Zach Wilson? They would keep, a tight end, a back. They'd have 7 protecting him at times with the 2 or 3 man route. How many times did we see that last Sunday? 0. Rodgers loves to keep it spread, loves to keep it open. So I think early Minnesota is going to see that Vance Joseph tape, blitz Rodgers, and have their DB sit on routes. So what I expect, and what I would do if I was Hackett, is get into some formations early where the max protect can be a possibility, and to have some chunk shots on early downs. First down, if you run it, try it on second. A little slant and go or an out and up with a max protect, with a Garrett Wilson one-on-one. That's what I expect. That's how you game plan against the previous week and the upcoming opponent. So, screens, sure, mix in the run screen, but they did try screens, but it was more of the receiver screen variety against Vance. Unfortunately, every time they tried it, it got blown up because the DBs were on their toes so ridiculously, and they never made them pay for that. And you have to go over the top to make them pay, and then they can't drive on those screens. So, more running back screens, I agree, but they did try some receiver screens this past Sunday.
Doug checks in. He's been an Asmaniac for 12 months. Thank you, Doug. I've been a solid defender for a while, but if we lose on Sunday, he should be fired, and we should hire Mike Vrabel. Well, they're not going to hire Vrabel in season. Maybe he's a candidate at the end of the year. I think he certainly should be if they're going to make a coaching change. If we got to deal with that at the end of the year, we'll deal with it then. But I don't think if they lose to the Vikings, Robert Saleh is getting fired. I think if they start 2-5, maybe, but I don't think Saleh is getting fired if they lose Sunday. I'd be very surprised.
Yeah. The only way he's gone in season is if Rodgers, it gets to a bullying point where Rodgers says enough. And does he have that power? Probably, because ownership. Who would they side with if they're 2-5? It's been bad for 3 years with his coaching staff. Rodgers, this is his first season. So, no, I don't think Saleh's going anywhere. I don't anticipate that. And I don't anticipate the Jets falling flat on their face. I think they're going to come out of this. Am I saying they're going to be an elite team? No, but I think there are paths ahead in which they could absolutely, of course, still be a playoff team. They're only 2-2, but even better than that.
Captain Swanson, how can we win versus the Vikings? We don't have advantages. I mean, how did the Broncos just beat the Jets? The Jets are far better than the Denver Broncos. I mean,
out-scheme them.
Yeah.
Out-scheme them. Intelligent them. Like,
turn Sam Darnold over a couple times. Like,
yeah,
not that complicated.
Listen, there's a lot of things you could do. A lot. And by the way, Sauce traveling, that got brought up. I didn't answer it. JJ Jefferson is the perfect guy you want Sauce traveling with. The only time I wouldn't have him on JJ is in the slot. I would keep Carter there in the slot, because Carter is for all intents and purposes, he's like a run support safety out of the nickel in the slot. So I want to keep him there. And in those situations, I'd have Carter on him with Tony Adams pretty much doubling over the top. But other than that, if he's on the outside, I'd have Sauce following him. Absolutely. Because he's that tall, lanky guy Sauce is perfect for.
Every third down, every 2-minute situation, critical, obvious passing situations, and red zone, Sauce Gardner should be on Justin Jefferson. DJ Reed had a great game on Sunday. But Sauce Gardner, if you're going to pay him $30 million a year starting next year, I'm judging him like he's a $30 million a year corner. I need Sauce on Justin Jefferson. That's how I am going to game plan if I'm the Jets. This is why you have Sauce Gardner for a matchup like this on Sunday.
It's the perfect example of the scale that Saleh battles in his head. What he envisions his team to be, the stubbornness, the identity, we do what we do. And if we do it well, no one can beat us, versus, okay, I'm going to bend and be flexible and get the short term right now. And I think he's got to drop some of that stubbornness and arrogance in terms of the way he thinks. This NFL doesn't really flow with that stubbornness.
We are 9 members away from the Sabo emoji. Thanks for tuning in live. If you are live, if you're not watching live, thanks for your support. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. This past September was the most viewed month in the history of the Jake Asman Show. So I want to thank the Asmaniacs for making that possible. Everyone who calls in, super chats, gifts, memberships, watches the show. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much for your support. John says, Bob Saleh only as good as his OC/quarterback tandem, low ceiling. Look at John, until he wins, I get the criticism. I mean, we spent the whole show so far pretty much talking about it. Bang Mateo's back. He hates Saleh, so I'm sure this will be negative. Rob, it's week 5. It's not let's hope the head coach can figure it out part of the season. Saleh will remain what he is for the Jets in 2024. Okay, if that's the case, then Bang, and they don't make the playoffs, he'll be out. I still think there's enough talent on this team for us to have a fun season. So if you want to be miserable every step of the way, that's fine. I'm going to London. I'm going to try and enjoy myself and root for the team to win on Sunday, and we'll worry about what happens after that. Don't be a fan, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, we know the head coach's limitations. It is not looking good for him right now, but they're 2-2. They're not 0-4. If the season were to end today, this coach you hate so much would actually be in the playoffs right now. So it's not time to give up on the season.
Yeah, I mean, if Mr. Bang was correct, that must have been a clone of Geno Smith I saw last night, tearing up the secondary, and a clone of Darnold doing what he's doing in Minnesota. Listen, it's projection. The people who are so dead set against a certain thought and ride that train, not only is it the hot take world of today, but it's projection, because they're doing the same thing. They're criticizing the guy that the guy is that they're criticizing. Saleh being too rigid and not being the right coach. He can never change. That's what Bang Mateo's doing. He's on that one idea, and he won't get off. So Saleh and Bang are two peas in a pod.
I really hope they could hang out one day. That'd be great.
I mean, hey, he's got that medal coming. Maybe they could fawn over it.
Coop says, need back-to-back wins before taking the Jets serious. For sure. But, like, look at the AFC right now. No one has really separated themselves.
No, dude, it's a NFL, man. It's wide open. They're 2-2. It was a disaster of a game. And the dirty little secret, Rodgers did not play well, and he knows it. He played terribly. And they only lost by, not only that, they could have won if Zerline hits the field goal. So if
I actually don't think he was terrible. I don't know. I watched it back.
For
for his standards, yes. But look at some of these throws he's being asked to complete. Like, this is terrible.
There's two things. It kind of goes back and forth. His talent is the only reason they were in the game.
Correct.
Because nothing primary was open. Everything was second chance. He was running around. He was getting hit. But for his standards, that was probably the most inaccurate game I've ever seen from him. And that is, it's a high bar. Don't get me wrong, but knowing him and the type of competitor he is, he's probably thinking the same thing I just said, that he was not good. But the point is, they lost a 1-point game with their quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, playing the worst game he'll play all year. So that's a really good sign.
I mean, for a bad game, look at some of these throws, and he's taking a beating. The conditions were horrendous. It's not an excuse for Rodgers. Like, you got to win this game. I get it. But this pass protection, which had been very good the first 3 games, completely was horrible. Like, anytime they had any positive play, it's him scrambling, buying an extra second.
It was
taking a shot. Like, look at the hit he takes here. I'm pretty sure this is the play where he got it to Lazard. He takes a step to his right. He knows he's going to get decked and puts it on the money there. Like, this was so much of the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't want people thinking that I thought Rodgers was terrible. It was an off game for what
his
he usually
standards
does.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Like, this,
and he was up
crazy.
against it. He was up against it. If you watch the first 3-4 drives, and again, it was like Vance Joseph was in the Jets huddle. They played it perfectly, and he had nowhere to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to some calls before we say goodbye to Robby Sabo. All calls presented by Gusbuster Umbrellas. The Hamburger is on the line, and he's first up today. Hello, Hamburger.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? First time caller.
What's up, Burger?
Hamburger, congrats to your Mets.
Yes.
That was crazy yesterday. My
God,
goodness.
was insane. Listen, it's like the same thing with the Mets. We couldn't get past the Braves forever, and yesterday we finally we slayed the dragon, which was pretty amazing to see. I was pretty impressed yesterday.
Until they meet in the NLCS.
Yeah, well, I hope they don't. Actually, you know what? I hope they do. I'll take that.
Yeah, it would be a hell of a thing if they both made it out. Based on what's happened in the past with this new playoff setup, it's not completely crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. And they got to get past Milwaukee, so that's going to be a tough task. Alone, they haven't fared too well against them. So I don't know, man. To the Jets, I think there's so much overreaction with the Jets right now. They're a good team. It's a roller coaster ride up and down. We've been through it forever, for 41 years for me. At some point, Dalla himself, he's okay. I don't mind the guy. I think he's okay. I think he could be okay at times, but this is going to be a learning experience for the whole team. I mean, Aaron's got to get his act together. Breece Hall had one of the worst games of his career. You got Wilson dropping the ball. I think this week they come out against the Vikings and they put on a show. I hope they do, because it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be a rough season if they can't get past them and then got to go to Buffalo. So it's going to be tough.
Well, Buffalo comes to the Jets, which helps. But still, if you're 2-3 playing the Bills in primetime, the whole world watching, that's a lot of stress and pressure on the Jets.
It's a lot of stress. Yeah, it's a do or die game, and at that point, unfortunately, here we go again. Everybody's talking fire solid, tank the season, get a new quarterback, number 1 pick in the draft. Let's get a new quarterback. It'll be the same old story. We'll all be miserable again. So I'm hoping that don't happen.
Now, why do they call you the Hamburger? Is that a government name?
No, that is not. Originally, I had made this YouTube account for my son. My son is 27, and I had convinced him at 26 years old that hamburgers are made of ham. And then you order a beef patty, and that's beef. And he said, you know what, Dad? I never thought of that.
Is he a vegetarian now?
No. So, and I started the account, and I put up one video of all his stupid faces, and this is the account that I use, so I stuck with it.
But you know what? I like it, the Hamburger. Great call, and call back more.
I will. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Hamburger.
There used to be a comedian I remember seeing as a kid. Always at the Apollo, the famed Apollo. He would always say, Hamburger. I don't know why, and it's always stuck with me. Hamburger. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, shout it out in the comments.
I forgot to bring this up to the Hamburger. He said his brother had his wedding on Super Bowl Sunday when we were talking about weddings at the beginning of the show. Let me say this to the Hamburger's brother. If that was my brother, I wouldn't go to the wedding. I just wouldn't go. I would refuse to go to a wedding on Super Bowl Sunday. That is more egregious than what I just went through with an NFL Sunday. The Super Bowl? You're going to inconvenience people on the Super Bowl? Are you nuts? You think your wedding is bigger than the Super Bowl? I mean, give me a break. I would not go. I don't care who. I don't care who it is. Brother, no chance.
It's crimes against humanity. I'm sorry. That's it.
Oh my God, he should be locked up in prison for that.
Yeah.
Mr. Reality, Rob from Garrett's Body Language. Hall lacks effort. Rodgers avoiding Salah on the sidelines. Could this be the early stages of Salah losing the locker room?
Could it be the early stages? Sure. Will it be? I don't think so, because I don't see them going on a losing streak. So it very well could be, but I think think about the controversies that have happened in the past. Jamal Adams, but even more recently, Elijah Moore. So many things that have happened where, the media wants to pounce. They want to make a story out of it naturally. And they've handled it pretty well. And I think it starts with Douglas and trickles down. So in terms of chaos, even with Rodgers here, I don't really worry about that.
I just think winning cures all, man. Like if they start losing, then obviously there's issues. But you win, guys are excited. We're 12 days removed from everyone feeling amazing about this team.
Yeah,
like it's as bad as Sunday was. They're 2-2, man. Like I see this comment here from Larry, who's a huge Salah hater. Jets are 2-2, could easily be 1-3. They beat two of the worst teams in the league and lost to another. By what metric is this a good team? And it's like, yeah, they also could easily be 3-1 if Greg Zuerlein hits a kick for as bad as they play. You know what I mean? Like we could play the what if game all we want. You look at the Bills, they're 3-1. I mean, they very nearly lost, week 1 to the Arizona Cardinals, who aren't any good.
Yes.
Like if we start nitpicking like every team's wins, like you're gonna see there's just not enough good teams to go around in the league right now. You know what I mean? Like the Chiefs are 4-0. I don't think they've played that great. They've been fortunate to win some of the games, and there's an art to winning, and the Jets have to learn how to do that. But you know what I mean? Like it's to me, it's too early to do like the nitpicking game. Like at the end of the day, these next 3 games will tell us a lot, especially this game Sunday. And if they lose and it starts to spiral, then yeah, I mean, we could say they're not a good team. Right now, they're not playing like a good team, but we're 12 days removed from them playing one of the best performances they've had in the last 20 years. So it's like, it's a week by week league right now.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. There's an art to winning, and they haven't learned that yet. Salah certainly hasn't learned it yet, but Rodgers has, and Rodgers knows that art to winning.
The Bucs were 5-5 with Brady in his first year there, and then obviously won the Super Bowl.
It's a dynamic situation, and Salah, I don't know him. I've never spoken to him one-on-one, but I don't think he's without humility. I think he does look in the mirror and try to change. It's about the realization and the awareness of what you need to change, but I think he has that too. Can he get it done? We'll see.
John became an Asmaniac, which means we're just 8 members away from the Sabo emoji, baby.
Free stuff.
Oh, yeah. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. John writes in, Jets beat Vikings. People are going to say Super Bowl.
Yeah, of course.
I saw this, like Stephen A, right, who's like the king of being known for like flip-flopping and having hot takes. He after the Jets beat the Patriots, he called the Jets without a doubt a Super Bowl contender. And someone sliced together the audio of him yesterday on First Take saying the Jets are no longer a Super Bowl contender in his eyes. You know what I mean? Like we're too reactionary as a society, and no one should make an excuse for how the Jets played on Sunday. It's pathetic. It's unacceptable. But I also don't want to sit here and act like there's no conceivable path for this team still being a good team. Like, I had them going 12-5. I didn't have them going 17-0. There was always going to be some losses along the way. Now they got to win a game they're not supposed to win. And maybe that's this Sunday. Maybe that's the Bills game. Like, whatever the case may be, I don't think there's a team on the schedule that you go, they have no chance against. Figure it out. It's the NFL, man. We've seen a crazy amount of upsets so far this year.
Yeah, and they don't have a ton of tough quarterbacks on the schedule. I mean, I know they lost to Bo Nix, but historically speaking, under Salah, they do good in that situation. So, we'll see. And in terms of being too reactionary, that's the NFL, man. That's the magic ticket. They've less is more, leaving people wanting more. It leads to that overreactionary stuff, and I completely get it. That's the way they want it, and it won't change because everyone buys in. The fans buy in, and I get it. Emotions rule the day.
We'll do one more call with you, Robbie, and then I'll stay on and get to the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, to bring on our next caller, Robby Sabo needs to see this.
Take it off! Take it off!
Oh boy.
Neil, man, you Adonis, you.
Yeah, that's Well, I used to do that at 336 pounds. That was the sight in my seat. But I used to do that.
I think Vince McMahon is looking for your contact info right now.
Take it easy there, Robbie. I'm not that bad. What I wanted to mention is this.
Is that your phone, Neil?
Yeah, but
Go ahead. Going with the unique ringtone, huh?
Uncle VR. Jake, this is an interesting stat. I don't know if you guys follow it. Where is the Minnesota Vikings run defense ranked right now? Do you guys know?
No, I don't even know, to be honest.
After 4 games. How about number 1?
They're top, yeah.
Now, where does their pass defense rank in the league after 4 weeks?
Probably 1, and that's the game flow. That's
How about 20? How about last?
You said passing offense or passing defense?
Defense, last.
Okay. You know why? Because they're putting up a lot of points, and the game flow.
Neil, your audio was brutal. It was tough to make out what you were saying there. So call back from a different spot.
Was he pessimistic, saying their Jets are going to get their ass kicked, basically?
I think the point he was trying to make is that they should be able to throw on this team coming up here.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, and great job, Neil, in terms of pointing that out. Number 1, number 2, they might be 1 against the run, but are they truly 1 against the run? Are they truly the best run defense in the league? Probably not. The reason is the opposition's always throwing to try to catch up in the game, and that's what happens. So we'll see. It's a great opportunity for Rodgers and Hackett and these receivers to get it done right off the bat.
Let's get to one more call because that one was cut short. Let's say hello to the big fella who joins. Hello, big fella.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
What's up,
big fella?
Hey, I was trying to call in yesterday, but I got in a little too late, so I got a little bit of notes here. Listening to Joe Beningo yesterday makes you want to die, bro. after a loss, holy shit! It was
the
like
Joe B special.
So negative and irrational, man. It was like, oh god,
he's therapy. Though. He's therapy, man.
We're 1 game out of first place right now. You know that, right? Yeah. The other teams in the division, the Bills are a fraud. They haven't played anybody really. The Dolphins have more problems than we do. The Pats are garbage. This is our year to take the division. Now, Salah's got to get his head out of his ass. I mean, he's got to hold players accountable. It's, if he doesn't, you promote Ulbrich, and then put White Cotton or Middleton at DC, stuff like that. But also,
Middleton's the tight ends coach. I actually think Middleton might be the interim, and then they would have Ulbrich just run the defense, Hackett, Rodgers handle the offense, and Middleton would kind of handle all the administrative stuff. Because remember, when Salah had COVID, Ron Middleton was the interim head coach of that one game.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Now, Garrett, Brees, and Sauce, I feel, have gotten too comfortable. They got too complacent. They're all in their feelings right now. You see the body language, Garrett and Brees, and so I feel like there's something off there, and they need to get out of their feelings and into the game. They got to focus on the wins. Once the wins come, the feelings go away, and everything's fine. This is all fixable. And I mean, hearing Salah every week say, "Oh, we got to work on that. It's fixable and stuff like that." Well, fix it. Enough already.
They got stunned. Vance Joseph, the Broncos, took out a stun gun and stunned them from the start of that game with their game plan. And what you're saying, fix it, don't be in your feelings. Yeah, they have room to grow there, but that's about not letting getting stunned rule the game. That's about flipping that script at some point during the game, that fiery comeback attitude. Yeah. So I think there's 2 things going on. They gotta get off to better starts, clean up the discipline, but get a bit of a belief in their system in terms of, hey, we could overcome anything.
Yeah, that first sack, the first play of the game, that killed them. Right from there, they were on their heels.
They were shocked.
So
they were like, "What is this?"
Right.
Yeah.
And we can't waste Rodgers. He doesn't have much time left. We can't waste the good years that he has. We can still win this division. We can still win this division. We can still go to play. We can still be competitive. I watched the Dolphin game last night. They're a shit show, man. It is bad. And
it's a 2-team race for the AFC East. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Exactly. So all I'm saying is, everybody has a right to bitch and complain and everything. Beningo takes it a little too far. Bringing back Tannenbaum, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's show venting.
Did he say Rex too? I've heard him say Rex in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. Rex and Tannenbaum.
Listen, Joe.
Rex actually would make more sense than Tannenbaum for being fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe is a unlicensed therapist that has helped many a fan many years, and I love that dude. That dude, he's the voice of the Jet fan, in my opinion.
I agree, but like most therapists, they need therapy too. So
yeah, it's true, and like it's kind of like Salah, most coaches, they also need coaching.
Exactly. Well, anyway, have a good day, guys. Great show, Jake, and take care.
Big fella, you are the man. Now, Robbie, I know you might have to go, but Neil has called back in. Do you have time for him to get done with his final points?
Absolutely. Bring Neil
Ladies
back
and gentlemen, we will bring Neil back, but not before I play this first.
I think that guy
I know, right?
Oh, there he is.
I get a little out of hand at the game. So one game, it was about 18 degrees. I used to sit up with a bunch of guys in the 300 section, and we used to pass around shrimp cocktail. We had a blast like you can't believe. So it's 20 degrees around that time, and there's a bunch of kids in front of me with their father, and I'm screaming, and they're like, people cover their ears when I scream because I'm very, very loud. I have a very loud voice. So this kid, when we scored a touchdown, had confetti in a bag. So I take the confetti, I start throwing it. I literally took my shirt off. The kid turns around. I was 330 pounds, okay? Looks around and goes, ew, ew, my blob. I was jumping on my seat, everything. So the next week they come to the stadium, and it was the husband and the wife, and the kids weren't there. And they go, wife turns around and goes, my son wants you to come to show and tell at his school. He wants you to come to show and tell because he loved it so much. It was crazy. I used to be a lot crazier.
I still can't believe you said shrimp cocktail.
Oh, yeah. We used to pass around shrimp cocktail. I mean, that was in the old Giant Stadium. It was insane. And then at halftime, if you remember the spirals, we used to throw stuff into the bottom, like money. And then they used to come get the money on the bottom of the spiral. We used to spill beer on people. I mean, it was insane back in those days. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, my dad told me a story once. He went to Yankees game in the 70s, the Bronx Zoo. And I forgot who the team was, the pitcher was, but he poured a beer on one of the relief pitchers in the bullpen and promptly got tossed right after that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, I could see that happening with us.
Mhm.
But the point I was making is this. They are last in the league in pass defense and first in run defense. So I'm anticipating that hopefully we come out like we did with the Patriots, pass first, establish a passing game. And with that in mind, I expect this to be a really high-scoring game. And if I have my money on who's going to win in the game with the last possession, Rodgers or Sam Darnold, I have my money on Rodgers. But, Jake, anticipate a very high-scoring game, and I expect that we're going to be crapping all over our defense this game, not the offense. The problem is going to be the defense because we had no pressure last week on the quarterback, zero. And the offensive line on the Vikings is legit, and we're not going to get any pressure on Darnold unless we do the blitzing deal. So hopefully
you confuse him with different looks and really challenge his ability to read different defenses, right? Like they should blitz a little bit, but then they should also have some looks they haven't shown this point. Like make Darnold see ghosts. It's about time we benefit from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you get pressure on Darnold, he folds like a blanket. And that was the one thing somebody pointed out yesterday. I forgot who it was. He said that in the remember, Jake, you asked the guy, the Green Bay fan, that guy on the truck all the time. You asked him about the game, and he said in the second half that they changed it up and they put some pressure on Darnold, and he didn't really have a good second half.
Right.
And he had 2 picks that were dropped that really he could have had 3 picks in that game. So a lot of it is like smoke and mirrors with them. And like I said, I expect a very high scoring game. I expect us to score a lot of points. And at the end of this game, I'll tell you what the narrative is going to be. Victory Monday, I hope. And that narrative is going to be, when are we getting Reddick or a pass rusher? Because we can't put pressure on the quarterback without a blitz. But we will be blitzing. We better be blitzing. And, you know, put Sauce on Jefferson. Put CJ on our other corner on their second best receiver. And let the best man win. And just pressure on Darnold. That's the way we're going to win this game. And that's what I got.
Yeah.
Over and out.
I agree.
Oh, this is what I'm going to do to you all season, little bitches.
Yeah, dude, Neil, good point. I agree with you. I think it's going to be the reverse. The offense we're happy with, defense we're not. To me, I thought the Jets pass rush has always been a bit overrated. Not bad, but I think their pass coverage with Sauce and Michael Carter has been so damn good that it makes the pass rush better. And Jake, yeah, they got a blitz, but this game will be all about Rodgers and the offense getting off to a hot start. Flip it. The Vikings have been used to playing with leads all year.
Correct. Challenge them. Get a lead again. 100%.
You have to jump on this team. They are a comeback virgin so far this year. Make that happen.
Robbie, great stuff from you, my friend. I appreciate it as always. I'm sad you're not joining me in London this week, but we'll catch up next week.
What are you going to do? Hey, maybe it's been me. Maybe because let me see. Did I go to both? No, I didn't go to Tennessee. But I went to the home game. But hey, maybe I'm the bad luck charm. So we'll see you next week, 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robby Sabo, JetsXFactor.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Podcast he does weekly with Wayne Corbett, the Underdog Podcast. Search for it where you get your podcasts, including on YouTube as well. Did I miss anything, Robbie? Anything else from JetX you want to mention?
No. Use discount code 80 for excellent discount. No ads. All the content behind the paywall. Audio versions of each article at jetsxfactor.com and JetX Mobile on the App Store and Android.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Robby Sabo, everybody. Great job by him. But we still need 8 emojis or 8 members to get the Sabo Edgemo rolling for his next appearance. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We'll continue with your calls right now. Jerome, the Packer fan, was just referenced by Neil. He's on the line. Hello, Jerome.
Hold on, Jake.
Want me to come back to you, Jerome?
Outside. No, I'm here. Yeah, I heard. I was trying to get me on while Neil was on. But yeah, the Vikings, that pass protection, that's how we was able to get back in that game. In that second half, the Packers, we ran off 20 straight points. We stifled Darnold. But see, our coaching staff is a staff such that we know how to make adjustments. We know how to see things on the fly, what's working, what's not working. Like what I was telling you yesterday, one of the things Robert Saleh has a problem with, it appears. And I've always wanted to give him a chance, but I'm seeing it a little bit more than I want to see it. That tells me that's a pattern of behavior. And it's still early. He can get it cleaned up. But if he doesn't, he's going to cost y'all games y'all not supposed to lose. But that being said, most certainly, Sauce, he needs to follow Jefferson. He's the perfect complement to him as far as guarding him, whatever. They're the same, like, height or whatever. And so he can hang with Jefferson. Let those guys on the inside and the slot, we trust their ability to be able to hold their own on that end. And y'all got to get out the Darnold early. Y'all got to get out the Darnold early. Y'all can't let them go up. Y'all can't let them go up scores. Y'all got to keep it a low scoring game, or at least stay within a touchdown with them. You can't let them run away with the game because it's gonna be hard to come back. So they right for the picking. And getting back to Rodgers and that offense, here's what I know about Rodgers. And in Packerland, we was successful in Packerland because we were disciplined. For a decade, we held the North because Rodgers didn't put up with that undisciplined stuff. And that thing, what did Salah say? Something about Aaron's cadence. I don't know. That worked in Packerland for about a decade.
Yeah,
We were successful.
We were successful. Yeah,
we were successful with that, and so that comes to discipline. And if we're going to continue to be getting penalties and all of that kind of stuff, you got to start sitting players until they get the message. We don't have time for egos or whatnot. Garrett, I believe he'll get on the same page. Brees and whatnot, they can't be divas because what I do know about Rodgers, if they don't make certain adjustments as far as, trying to get on the same page with him, whatever, he'll go away from him. He won't throw to him. He'll go away from him. And they'll even be more upset. So it would behoove them to, buckle down, hunker down, practice on the things that they having problems with, get on sync with that cadence, and make whatever adjustments they need to make. Solid. If he sees something not working in the game, he needs to go away from it, and he needs to, do some other things. It could be anything, but at least he tried. Do something that until he figure out what works. But if he's paying attention to the game, he'll know what works and what doesn't work. And you stick with what works. It's just conventional wisdom. He doesn't have to make it harder than what it has to be. You know what's going on. You see what's going on. You ride the hot hand. Something ain't working, you go away from it. And I think they need to blitz. They need to blitz, but they need to have some other exotic things they do outside, not just blitzing. I guess Ulbrich and the defense, they'll come up with a good game plan. I just need Robert Sabo to be paying attention to what's going on in the game.
Yeah, look,
and make adjustments on the fly.
Jerome, excellent point. They also need their best players to play like their best players, right? Garrett Wilson's not facing Pat Surtain this week. It's time to break out. It's time to play. You want to be paid like a number one receiver after this year. It's time to play like one. Brees Hall, time to play like a guy that a lot of us felt could be the best running back in football by the end of this year. Time to play like that. Mike Williams, no limitations, 100%. Get him out there. It's week 5 now. Guys look better each week. Go time. That guy has already had instant chemistry with Rodgers. He's played with him the least out of any receiver on the team. Go time. What do they do well right now? They run the ball well with Allen. They have Mike Williams. Use them. Win the game, man. The Vikings are good. They're not going 17-0. Sam Darnold is turnover prone still, despite how well he's played of late. Is anyone more miserable than Curly? Good God, bro. Whatever Rodgers did in Green Bay is irrelevant. He's a loser Jet now. Welcome to hell. Curly, they're 2-2, dude. I get it. You're always negative. You're negative year round. How do you even enjoy watching this team? Like just being a fan. How do you enjoy it? It's got to just be a miserable existence, man. No one's saying it's all good right now, but geez, man, they're not 0-4. We're not the Jaguars right now. They're 2-2. Take a breath, my guy. Alexander says, any word on Mosley? Now, you won't hear anything on CJ till tomorrow when the first injury report of the week comes out. I hope he plays. I think they do need him. I think people were too quick to be like, he's not any good. Sherwood's better. You want CJ Mosley out there, especially in a game like what happened on Sunday, where you could use his leadership, getting guys on maybe they weren't on the same page on that one touchdown because CJ Mosley wasn't there directing the defense. Maybe that doesn't happen if he's there. Maybe that touchdown never happens because they stopped the run better if CJ Mosley's there for the second half in the rain, where you want a, big physical, strong linebacker who can make plays in the ground game. You want your best players out there. Mosley's still one of them. We're presented by Huga House today. If you want the hat I'm wearing or any of the hats from Huga House, they just released a bunch of new ones, including the Aaron Rodgers Year 20 hat in both black and green, which they restocked, I was told. You could use promo code Asman at checkout, and you could get it 15% off. Once again, that's promo code Asman at checkout to get it 15% off. Buy one hat from Huga House, and you get your second hat 30% off. So get the hat that a bunch of Jet players are wearing, a bunch of athletes, entertainers, celebrities are all rocking. It's HugaHouse.com, and it's promo code Asman for 15% off. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We'll continue with your calls here on the show. I appreciate everyone who is tuned in right now. You guys are the best. Win or lose, we are all in this together. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get right back into your calls. So keep it right here. Quick commercial break. Back to your calls. Back to your super chats. We got the film review at 4 p.m. Eastern today with Fialco as well. So a lot still happening on the Jake Asman Show. We're back in a few to break it all down and then some.
Do you guys remember there was an incident in Las Vegas where a man attacked a Clark County judge? After this happened, I said, the guy in the video is actually a listener of the show. So not the guy who basically like Troy Polamalu'd over like the judge dais, but the guy that is a listener of the show is the hero who tried to immediately apprehend this wacko. And yesterday, Michael Lasso, the law clerk who helped protect the Clark County judge who was attacked in court last month, was named Citizen of the Month in Vegas. You could see our guy Michael Lasso on the left there. It's a pretty cool moment for Michael, who joins us right now. What's up, Michael?
How you doing, Jake? Good to see you.
Man, what's it like being a hero?
Oh my God, you know what I mean? It's so, honestly, it's just so surreal and so humbling, truly. I never expected it to be, on SNL and TikTok and Twitter. And
while I fly this way, right? Mm-hmm. The bailiff, he run behind me, he fall down. Look at it, man. That's terrible. Man.
It's really just incredible, to be honest. And that leap that man did was pretty impressive. And I think that's part of the reason why that video has gone so crazy.
I mean, the guy, like, he timed the snap perfectly, right? Like, he did the full Troy Polamalu over the, I mean, what goes through your mind in real time as that's happening? Like, you even have time to think? Was it all just natural reaction? Kind of take us through what's happening there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's no time to think, for sure. I mean, the video doesn't even do it justice, just at how fast that actually occurred. I mean, 1 minute he's sitting there just talking about how, he'll accept whatever the judge is willing to give him. And then the next minute he's on top of the judge. So when he initially made a run, I thought, okay, he's going for the door. Last thing I thought he was going for the judge, and I definitely didn't think he was ever going to make contact. It was so nice of the mayor. It was so nice of the city. It was such an incredible experience. I mean, when the mayor first called me, I answered the phone, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this? The mayor? Do you have the right number?
The video honestly doesn't even do it justice as to just how fast it really was. I mean, it went from just any normal day to just, honestly, just straight, havoc. I mean, it was in a blink of an eye, and there really wasn't much time to think. You just kind of react.
I mean, I remember when it happened, and like the video was everywhere, and then you told me that was you, and I was like, what? No way. And I just I couldn't believe it, man.
I know. I wish I could have came on your show earlier, but obviously the sentencing was still going on. There were things in motion, so I just couldn't. But I really appreciate you giving me a chance and coming on here.
It's not every day that, a listener to the show is like a legitimate hero. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, what ended up happening? Was he sentenced? Where's the guy who, attacked you?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, he was given the sentence he was going to get originally. He's got new charges that he's facing, and that's going on in a different courtroom with a different judge, and, we'll kind of see where that goes.
Can you believe that when they brought me back to court, they put a muzzle on me, man?
Yeah, probably for everybody's safety.
Man, I ain't bite nobody.
That's unbelievable, man. I love it. A Jet fan is a hero out in Las Vegas.
And those clips of Judge Allen, oh my God, those had me dead. Oh my God, those are the best things I've ever seen. I don't know. I just Gatorade. Those are incredible.
I believe you mean this right here.
I'd rather be the Jake Asman heel than the Robert Saleh truther any day of the week. But it's weird because I don't see myself as a heel. I think I'm a realist.
I don't want to hear none of that shit. You do not root for no damn New England to win shit.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's too good. It's too good. Oh my God. Thank you again, Jake.
Michael.
What a moment that was. Shout out to Michael Lasso. As maniacs are everywhere, baby. All right, let's get to some of your calls here before we wrap up. If you're currently on hold, you're guaranteed to get on the air, so stay right there. John C., you're first up in this segment. What's up, John?
What's going on, Jake? How are you?
Hey, John, love the
All
hat,
right,
man.
so
Just talked about Hugo House, and you got
yeah,
the hat on. I love it.
just got it. Yeah, love it. It's a great hat. Yeah, I think that talking about the game that just happened, what an abysmal loss. I think just everything went wrong. Everything that you were concerned about earlier in the season came to fruition in this game. The coaching holding them back. You would think a team against like the Broncos, it really wouldn't. I mean, because they're so bad, you would be able to overcome that. But it was just horrendous. I mean, they were so undisciplined. It was just so like frustrating to watch. Oh my! I still can't believe they lost that game. But whatever. We're on to London. Beat the Vikings. Like you said, they're not going to go 17-0. They're going to eventually lose a game. Why not us? Why can't we beat them? I mean, if you're good, if you're want to be touted as a contender, go beat the Vikings. I think the narrative could really quickly change if they. Some saying the second best team in the NFL. The Jets are the narrative's back that they're a contender. It's just a week. It's just like I feel like people saying, "Oh, NFL's a week-to-week league." You're really seeing it with the Jets this year. Last week, they crushed the Patriots. You're like, "Oh, Rodgers is looking like his MVP self," and then you go into this week and you're talking about firing the coach. So it's kind of crazy how it's playing out so far. But I think the key to this game to defeat the Vikings is you got to get to an early lead. Can't let Darnold get ahead of you. Sauce has to shadow Justin Jefferson the whole game. I don't want to hear any excuses about the side that he's playing on. That's all nonsense. Darrelle Revis would shadow these guys all game and take out the top receiver. Why can't Sauce do this? If he's the best cornerback in the game, one of the best, him and Sutton, why can't he do this? Why can't he neutralize Justin Jefferson? I don't understand why they're so hesitant of doing this. Why didn't he shadow Sutton the whole game? He was the only guy that had yards in this game. I don't understand why that wasn't happening. I just don't understand the reluctance with that. And they also have to blitz a lot. I don't understand. They have such a great cornerback and one of the best in the game. Why don't you utilize that and blitz? You can afford to blitz and lose a guy in coverage. I don't understand it. Why they don't do this stuff? They had to do this to win because the Vikings O-line is going to hold up really well, and you're going to have crazy looks like the caller just said, like the other caller just said. I totally agree with him.
Yeah, you got to confuse Darnold and John. Good call. He's still turnover prone, right? He's still, he got away with some throws last week, as some other callers have noted. And he had a fumble. He had a pick. He's played really well. I like Sam Darnold. I hope he keeps playing well. I have no ill will towards him at all. And people are going to kill the Jets this week. That's going to be the narrative. It's like, really, man? I mean, he's on his third team since he's been a Jet. We couldn't wait till year 7 of Sam Darnold. He went to Carolina, and he already beat the Jets in week 1 that year. He started 3-0, and then he kind of reverted back to what he's been. Like, low-end starter, probably a really good backup this year. He's been great. But, like, is it, is he having his Ryan Fitzpatrick 2015 season right now? Like, maybe. Fitz, by the way, still had some stinkers that year, too, as good as he played. I'm not even just referring to, the game in Buffalo, obviously. Now, if you're the Jets, it's Aaron Rodgers for Sam Darnold at the end of the day. This Jets defense comes in playing well. They should get C.J. Mosley back. It's a neutral site game, so there's no home field advantage for Minnesota. Rodgers played in a London game 2 seasons ago. He's done it before. Saleh and this coaching staff, much of the same staff is still here, especially on defense. They played in a London game 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, right? 2021, Zach's rookie year. Find a way to win. That should be the approach. Let's say hello to Rob, the Jet fan. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Jake. I have a lot of small, quick points that I just want to get through, but I'm going to start off by saying, you know what? Bang Mateo needs to go on Arthur Smith's podcast. Oh, I forget there isn't any, right, Jake? That's the first thing, because I'm kind of fed up with Bang Mateo. He needs to shut the hell up. I mean, he bragged about Arthur Smith. Who the hell's Arthur Smith? Why don't you talk about that?
He's the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. So much for him. But you know what? I think people are missing C.J. Mosley now, Jake, because you know what? He would have been much better at defending against the run. You have an intelligent guy there. He knows how to play call. Maybe that play in the end zone does not happen, like you said. So you know what? I think people are starting to miss C.J. a little bit. And you know what, Jake? Why don't we have Eccles out there more in the Minnesota game? The guy has a nose for the ball. And you know what? Darnold will turn the ball over at times. And you know what? I think he's got to be out there more. Okay? So I throw that out there. And then I'm going to say, you know what, with the cadence, with Brees Hall, and even with Garrett Wilson and stuff, people need to get on Aaron Rodgers' page, not the other way around. You know, I don't agree with Robby Sabo that Aaron Rodgers had a bad game. It wasn't his best game. It's true. But you know what? That film that you showed, Jake, showed how much Aaron Rodgers was trying to win this game so badly. And if we think about it, Jake, we were there. And if we make that kick, guess what? We win the game. As badly as we played, we win the game. So that's all you expect out of your quarterback under those conditions, the rain, the bad game scheming from Salah, the whole 9 yards. So you know what? The other teammates got to get on the page. Garrett Wilson's got to get on this page of Aaron Rodgers. He's the Hall of Fame of a quarterback. You know what? I'm taking my lessons from him. I'm taking my lessons from a teacher, not a student, okay? So they better get on the same page there. I don't want to see Gibson out there as much. Put Corley in there. Let's see what he has. Let's get Mike Williams out there a lot more because Mike Williams looked really, really good, okay? So let's do that. Another thing that I have, Jake, is let's start taking a little bit of accountability here that I put on JD. Because you know what? Let's be honest, Jake. Our defensive line is not nearly as good as it was last year. You had Quentin Jefferson, who had a fantastic year. He was signed elsewhere. You had Al Woods. I know he's up there in age. He had an injury, so I see why he's not back. But the Quentin Jefferson, JFM, all these guys were integral in stopping the run. They're gone now. You know what? We could have made better decisions on the D-line, and that is JD, not Salah. So I'm not happy about that part, Jake. So he could have done a better job, JD, in fortifying our defensive line and showing on the run, because a team like Denver shouldn't be running on us like that.
Well,
that
they're missing. Rob. They're missing 2 Pro Bowlers on that D line right now that were supposed to be there. Jermaine, who's probably their best all-around defensive lineman as far as being good against the run and being a rusher, and Reddick, who's better than Huff against the run. That's why the line is not as good. They're missing 2 Pro Bowlers they were accounting for. It's a problem. They're still missing some juice there. The Jermaine injury, and I don't know if it necessarily has cost them yet, but it could. Some of these quarterbacks you're playing coming up, it could. I mean, that's the bottom line.
It's time for V-Man to talk about Puerto Rico and his Puerto Rican roots.
What's up, Jay? How you doing?
V-Man, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, and a happy 100 to Jimmy Carter.
Yes, happy birthday to Jimmy Carter.
You don't know, so yeah.
First U.S. president to make it to 100. Congrats to him.
Well, also probably the best ex-president ever. Considering he has Nobel Peace Prize, Habitat for Humanity, I mean, the list goes on and on.
I was more of a George Washington guy back in my day.
I also love Jimmy. I like that, even as an old man, that guy was working his butt off, building houses for poor people. So I respect the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get. I was gonna call yesterday after that game. Yeah, I can say this. Is there something up with this team? And when do they overthink it when they get extra time to prepare? Because it just seems that way.
Feels like it. Yeah, I mean, look, I think in the past when we have some of these like Salah stats, it was always tough because like how much of that is just having the league's worst quarterback situation. But when you have a game like that and Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, you start to question everything with a game like that.
Like, the thing is, like, you think about Monday, we have Monday night game, and then we have one extra day to prepare. We eke out a win against the Titans. Then when you have even less time to prepare, you play a master class versus the Patriots. Like, how did that work? How? It's like, I mean, like by every other sense of logic, you would think the less time you have, the harder it is to prepare. But with this team, it's the other way around. You give them no time. They play their ass off. You give them all the time in the world. It's like they come out like completely discombobulated.
It's unacceptable. I mean, they were poorly coached on Sunday. There's no way around it. The penalties, the inability to adjust to any of the blitzes Denver was sending, guys not being in the right spot, guys not being on the same page as the quarterback. It falls on the head coach.
No, it's like they got to click. Like, I don't know how long it takes to figure this one out, but with this game, honestly, it's good that they're coming off a loss. So, in the situation, they got to clear their heads, get themselves all focused. They got to come in here, like I said, they got to punch the Vikings in the mouth, because you saw they had a sloppy game against the Packers. It wasn't the first few games where they played in the year where they were surgical and they're just tearing up the teams. They got a little sloppy, and it showed there's weakness there, and you got to exploit that.
They got exposed, and Denver completely outcoached them. And I don't even think Sean Payton coached a great game. That's how bad the Jets coaching staff was themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like I said, with this Vikings game, you got to go in there. Punch him in the mouth. They think it's Sam Darnold. We know he's gotten off to a hot start, but it's probably. And I think that game against the Packers is showing him starting to cool off a bit.
Are you coming to London with me?
No, I don't have to play for London.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, yeah, they enjoy the food, and maybe stop by Abbey Road and take a snapshot for that.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. I'll talk to you later, man.
V-Man, you have yourself a tremendous day, all right?
All right.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
Thank you, V-Man. I have an idea for the Jets, all right? Now, this is next level thinking here. So I believe Zach Wilson's presence on Sunday was why the Jets reverted back offensively to 2023. Here's what I would do for the London game. Let's send the private jet to wherever Adam Gase is, and let's bring him to the UK. Get Gase in the building. Make Gase the honorary captain. Let him do the coin flip and look Sam Darnold in the eyes right before the game on Sunday. You want to win, Woody Johnson? Get Adam Gase to London. Let's start the campaign, baby. Gase to London. That's how we win Sunday. We want Sam Darnold to see some ghosts. Get Gase to London. Now that is next level thinking. Doug in his room and Tim, our last two callers on the first show today. Doug, what do you got for us?
Two viewpoints. One, I might have overreacted a little bit with the Salah thing. The coach that needs to go is Gase. Not Gase, sorry. You got me confused with the Gase.
No, Gase needs to go to London.
Yeah, is Hackett, but that's never going to happen because he's Rodgers' BFF. Hackett's the one. Like, how do you not, who doesn't think, let's use our 240-pound running back on the 1 yard line? Why use him? Just blasphemy. Another thing, are you at all worried about Zerline?
I'm a little worried. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to kill him for the kick Sunday in the rain, but some of his makes haven't looked as clean as they normally do, and he missed the kick against New England. That was a gimme. So it's a little concerning because he had the rough preseason for his standards. I'm a little concerned. Yeah. So I'm not, people have made this point. Joe said it yesterday. I know Connor Rodgers has made the comparison. Sometimes kickers are a lot like relief pitchers. It's very year to year. Zerline's given them 2 great years in a row. I think it's natural for some regression, but is it going to be regression to a point where the guy is now a bad kicker? I hope not. That's a real problem.
Yeah, and the guy who goes cyber hasn't missed a kick yet. So
right.
It just that. And then quick baseball thing. If the Yankees don't win the World Series this year, when are they going to do it?
This to me feels like their best chance. There's no dominant team, and they have to at least get to the World Series, right? You got Soto guaranteed for at least this playoff run. Look, the Rizzo injury sucks, but Stanton's healthy and hitting. That's huge. Yeah. He's been great in the playoffs. Judge has legit protection in the lineup right now. Soto's already won a ring and has been a big game hitter all year. Has hit well in the postseason in the past. Like, they got depth in the pitching. There's some concerns with the bullpen, but I feel like if this is the best shot the Yankees have maybe had at it in the Aaron Judge era, if that makes sense. There's no dominant team.
Yeah, I agree. Since they moved Weaver to the closer role, the bullpen's been a lot sturdier. And then also, You have home field throughout the AL. I don't
Root for the Tigers today. I don't want to play the Astros.
I think if the Tigers win today, I think they win the series. If they lose, I think the Astros win because they have Skubal on the mound. So like that's
the game you got to win. Yep.
And then the Orioles Royals series, I can go either way because the Orioles have been really, really bad.
Yeah.
So who the hell knows? And then I think if you're a Mets fan, you're just no matter what happens at this point, you're happy with the season because of based on preseason expectations. Like, yeah, you'd like to win, but like if they don't win the wild card round, I don't think the Mets fans are like, oh darn, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this year was so unexpected, especially after the 0-5 start and 11 games under 500. That but I think that makes the Mets kind of dangerous, right? It's kind of house money for them.
I think that the NL is much harder than the AL though. Like,
correct.
I think, and I legitimately, I just think the Mets starting pitching might fold them in the playoffs. I think the team, but like any team in the NL, I could honestly see winning it. Like the Padres are very good; they have a great bullpen. The Dodgers are going to choke though. That's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, until they win a non-COVID year title, they just don't have enough pitching right now.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's going to be an interesting postseason. I know this is a football side, but like, just wanted to get a few baseball points in. But go Jets! I think we'll win on Sunday, and faith will be restored.
Doug, I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't mind the baseball takes. It was a big day for the Mets. Baseball in New York City is alive. Playoff baseball. And, we're an hour and 41 minutes in. So if someone wants Jet talk, just rewind. Indomitable says, facts over feelings. Play Braylon and Mike Williams, Sid Gibson. Look, Mike Williams should be out there the entire game this week. Like, no restrictions. Let's go. Get him involved. Braylon, get him involved in short yardage and goal line. Don't overthink it, man. What do the Jets do well right now? They run the ball well with Braylon. And they have had tremendous success with Mike Williams on those 50-50 balls and some of the other routes he's run too. Barbarella says, I told you about establishing cohesion and you banned me. Barbarella, I don't even know. I don't remember, but we don't just ban people for saying cohesion. You were trolling with all your comments. I don't have time to pull them all up because nobody cares. But thank you for the $2. You're not banned now. Thanks for the $2. Someone's got to fund my Chipotle tonight, Barbarella. And I'm going to London, man. It ain't cheap. I need your $2 super chats. Big fella comes through with a $5 super chat. Jets, most importantly, key to the game Sunday. Keep Pat Jones and Grenard off Aaron Rodgers. Is that simple? Look, we're going to show some film later that's going to be a tough watch, Jet fans. The pass protection needs to improve. The blitz pickup, blitz recognition, they got to figure it out. Keep Rodgers clean like they did the first 3 games, and they should be all right. One last call. We say hello to Tim from Fishland. Tim, how about them Dolphins?
Shout out the Gator for the epic gifts that he be making a TD. All right, epic gifts. And shout out to the Asmaniacs for being on TD's chat and letting him have it. He actually agreed with me with 2 super chats. I said to him, I think one Dolphin fan's like, we need Tua back, this and that. And I go, dude, if he goes behind that O-line, he might die. All right, he might die if he goes behind that O-line because he's just a statue back there. But as far as the Jets go, watching the game on Sunday, you rewatch the tape. This is why you need to practice. The line of scrimmage is imperative in the NFL. Okay, you could be the most talented team in football, but if you don't win in a line of scrimmage, you're most likely going to lose the game. And the Jets lost on both sides. Okay, the defense needs to get their head out of their ass. They have to understand that they don't have the guys up front. Now, we'll see what Fotu comes back this week because apparently he can come off of IR. And he's a big body in the middle, which, it could only help. But they got to blitz more. You got them corners, those 3 corners, you got to use them. They're the strength of your defense, in my opinion. Okay. Secondly, the offense just they got to win at the line of scrimmage. Okay. You can't ask Rodgers to sit back and throw 40 times. You just can't do it. All right. You have to be able to run the football in this game. That's the design of that game of that offense. Okay. But I believe the Jets need to open it up by passing first. You know what I mean? A lot more than just trying to, running Breece Hall into freaking the A and B gap, right into a wall. You know what I mean? Like 2 or 3 times before they decide to spread them out. But
mixing a screen, if they're
yeah,
gonna blitz,
mixing a screen.
Have some checks for that. That's the whole.
Exactly.
They weren't prepared for the blitz last week. It was very shocking.
Exactly. And I just don't want to see my 40-year-old quarterback getting hit 15 times. Like that's just not.
He's not going to make it.
A winning formula.
No, Tim, 1,000%. I said it on the post game. I've said it the last couple of days now. You watch back the film, and the hits Rodgers took. They're lucky he's able to play this week. And I wonder what his mobility looks like this week if he's going to be hampered at all.
If I'm Saleh and I'm Ulbrich, I'm looking at the Texans-Vikings game tape on defense, the Texans defense against Vikings offense, to look for something, because the Texans play a very similar defense to us, and they have better front four, in my opinion, at this time with the Neil Hunter on. So they need to take the tape from that, because that was a shellacking by the Vikings on the Houston Texans, and do what the Texans didn't do. You see what I mean? Or you see what I mean? Like that's how they need to attack it. Make Sam, see some ghosts. You cannot expect to have these guys cover. I don't care how good they are when you're not getting a pass rush. Okay, you can only cover for so long. So the best is just spend 5 or 6, and then when they start keying in on it, that's when you drop people back. Just make the offensive line guess who's coming. Okay, like that's what Denver did to us this past week. And please tell me why the hell the damn team isn't flying out there today to London. Why are they not flying out till Thursday? Like that just blows my mind.
They've done it the last 2 times they've been out there. They won in 15. They lost the last time. I don't know. Teams they have like performance science coaches who tell them the best way to handle it. Like as far as
you should be out there the first day of the week. All right, getting acclimated to the time zone. Acclimated to everything. That's how it should be. You shouldn't be waiting until Thursday. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry.
I'm just telling you, this is how pretty much every team in the league does it, though. They fly out later in the week. You get there, you sleep on your way there to get your body right, and then they have practice later in the day to get adjusted for the time difference, and they try and keep the schedule consistent. You want guys to be, you want guys to get their treatment and install and keep it as normal as possible. So it's like a normal road game. Like it's a big time difference, no doubt, but they don't want to, they don't want to make the whole week feel radically different than a normal road game. It's still only a 7-hour flight at the end of the day. It's 6.5 hours.
Yeah. And I want to scheme turnovers. Okay. We've only had fumbles, not even 1 interception this year yet.
No, they had the pick from Brandon Eccles in the Titans game. Right?
That's it. That was it. All right. I actually want to see like some schemes, some deception. You know what I mean? Like stop lining up and thinking you can out talent. Sometimes you have to be smart on defense. And Rex did it the best. All right. You just don't stand back there and have these guys cover for 10 fucking seconds. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, Tim, I agree. Good takes, man. I mean, as bad as they played, we're 12 days removed from a great game plan by the coaches where they executed on both sides of the ball, put together a good plan. Now, the Vikings are not the Patriots. They're 4-0. They played a lot better. Give them credit. But they're not going undefeated. Like, every team's going to lose a game they're not supposed to lose. So, no excuse for the Jets. Get it done, man. I'll see you guys in London. Make sure you guys RSVP to our big-time event Saturday night. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Who knows what Sunday will bring us, but Saturday will be a lot of fun. Anyway, I want to thank you all for your incredible support. Thanks to Robby Sabo for joining the show. Film review at 4 p.m., 4 hours from right now if you're tuned in live with Andrew Fialco. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being part of this community. September was our most viewed month ever. Let's make October our most viewed month ever. Let's keep it rolling. Hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the Jake Asman YouTube channel yet, please do so. It's free and helps us grow. Thank you all again. Go Jets. And we're back in a few hours to review the film from Sunday's game against the Broncos.
Disgusting franchise that masquerades themselves as an NFL football team. I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.